Most of the actual research involved going to the presidential libraries. Each president, when they leave office, their papers go to some repository, and it's wherever the president wishes to build the library. Clinton's is in Little Rock. Eisenhower has his in his childhood home of Abilene, Kansas. They're spread all over the country, and in those archives you have copies of correspondence and papers, and these days electronic correspondence, emails, and you're able to piece together discussions that members of the president's staff had about particular issues, not just limited to executive orders. And so that's, in the course of doing that research, I visited about 7 or 8 presidential libraries. Really found it fascinating to look at the way that president's own staff, their staffs viewed these things as an instrument that the president could use to get their way, and was able to reconstruct discussions in the flow of thinking and put together a story, tell a story behind a particular executive order that confirmed my initial expectation that these instruments were more important than anybody had thought, that presidents had long viewed them as a critical resource, and that political scientists had, we had not caught up to what presidents actually did. One of the difficult things about studying executive orders is the record keeping was pretty shoddy. You would have pieces of paper that emerged in an executive branch agency, and there was no systematic record keeping until about 1905, and it wasn't until 1906 or 1936 when the Federal Register was started, the daily digest of all federal government actions, which is where we now have a comprehensive and authoritative record of all executive branch actions, whether it's an executive order or a proclamation or a letter to an executive branch head or a military order or anything. And one of the reasons the register came into being had to do with a Supreme Court case in which the government was prosecuting a Texas oil producer for violating an executive order that no longer existed. It had actually been rescinded, but nobody knew it because the record-keeping processes were so shoddy that the night before oral argument before the Supreme Court, some Justice Department lawyers realized that they didn't have a case because the law that they were prosecuting this man for had actually been rescinded. And so they had to do what they could to kind of walk back, and it was fiascos like that that led to the establishment of this register so that everybody would know what the federal government was doing. I mean, this had been during the rise of the New Deal, when the government had grown so quickly that it was just, as a physical matter, difficult to keep track of what the government was doing.